Minnesotans have many demands for their hard-earned dollars, and for some, saving for retirement falls to the bottom of the list. In a recent survey, AARP of Minnesota found that more than half of the workers surveyed were anxious about having enough money for retirement. Joining me in the studio to discuss a possible solution to this dilemma is Senator Sandra Pappas. Welcome.
Thank you.
Why is it in Minnesota's best interest to have retirement savings? Isn't Social Security enough?
Oh, I wish it was, but it's not. Let me give you the example of my Aunt Elsie. She's 87 and she's run through her husband's retirement money, and now she's living exclusively on Social Security. And her market rate apartment her Social Security is $1,000 a month, and market rate apartments run $900 a month. So that really doesn't leave her enough money even for food. So without the help from her children, which has been kind of in and out, she's really struggling. Yet if she had been able to sign up for a retirement plan years ago when she was young, even if it only brought her a couple $100s a month, that would be her food budget. So that's our problem, is too many people are relying on just one source of income for their retirement, and they need multiple sources.
The plan is called the Minnesota Secure Choice Retirement Act. And I understand there's two different choices. There's an individual choice and employer choice. Can you walk us through the individual retirement plan? Does it follow the employee through various employers? How does it work?
Absolutely it would. If we want to make it as easy as possible as we can for small businesses in particular who haven't been able to offer a plan, so it's just part of their payroll deductions that they do. The money is invested by the State Board of Investments, so individuals don't have to worry about investment choices, and it would follow them from employer to employer.
Okay, and then there's also the multiple employer retirement plan, which is essentially a 401k sponsored by the state, but available to the employer to offer to the employee.
This is something that I wanted to do that's beyond Secure Choice that AARP has been supporting throughout the country, because I wanted an option for employers who did want to also contribute. And so everyone's kind of scared off by ERISA, so we're making it more simple for employers to be able to offer a plan that they can also contribute to and double their employees' dollars that they're investing.
But this is then, it doesn't maybe cost as much money for the employer to offer this? Is that?
Well, it's optional for them.
Okay.
The basic Secure Choice IRA plan would be required by all businesses to offer that to their employees. But if they wanted to help their employees more as an incentive for people to work for them, they could offer the multiple employer plan, which would be more like a 401k.
Okay.
But again, we simplify the paperwork, the fees are low, it's invested by the state.
What prevents people from just starting their own retirement plans? Why do we feel like it needs to be through an employer?
Because they're not doing it. And they certainly can, and many people do, but for low-wage workers in particular, it's the investment choices are confusing for them. The fees are so high that they aren't gaining much money. Their interest that they're able to get, maybe only 4 or 5% or less, is gobbled up by fees. This is not really a competition with the private market because these people are not saving now. This would be a automatic deduction, automatic enrollment with their employer, and the fees would be low because we have a bulk of money already available with the State Board of Investment, and so there would be much more of an incentive for people to stay involved with it.
The plan addresses the access gap. People who don't have access right now to a retirement plan through their employer. But there's also an affordability gap. For many, saving for retirement is a luxury. They simply don't have enough money for there to be extra money.
Right.
So how would this help those people?
It could start small. It could start at 1% of their income. And because it would be an automatic deduction, it would be money that they'd never see. It's kind of out the door. And so I think that would be very helpful. And as we've surveyed, and AARP has surveyed low-wage workers, and some of them testified at our hearing, they're concerned about how they're going to save for retirement too. So there's a strong group out there that's motivated. You can opt out. So if people decide they really cannot afford to start saving for their living paycheck to paycheck, they could opt out of it. But the studies have shown that most people, 90% of people, if it's an opt-in where it's an automatic deduction, or not an opt-in, it's an automatic deduction, but an opt-out, that they just let the money stay in the savings account.
Well, and then they start getting statements and they start seeing it grow, and then they start to feel maybe more secure.
Right, and then we talk about what the rules are for withdrawal. Because typically, if you withdraw money from a retirement plan, there are penalties. But people have emergencies. People want to pay for college. People want to put a down payment on a house. There are sometimes other priorities. So that's yet to be worked out.
So just making it easier to incentivize people to save for their future.
It's a public-private partnership. The state doesn't have to run it. We can contract with a private entity that already has the systems in place to be able to do this, so the startup costs are low. And I think it does have a lot of bipartisan support that in the studies that we've done, the surveys that we've done, 90% of Minnesotans think that the state should establish a retirement program for low-wage workers. 73% are also strongly supportive, that say they would save with a retirement plan that was available for them.
There is bipartisan support from my own reading as well, but one of the concerns from the Republicans is that it's potentially putting government in competition with private business and perhaps creating more burdens for small business. How do you address that?
So, as I said, you make it very simple for small business that they have a payroll system. They have to deduct for Social Security. They have to deduct for taxes, for state taxes. So it's just another item that they deduct for. So it shouldn't be that burdensome on small employees, small employers, and of course we do want them to educate their employers. So there's some of that involved through their HR system, whatever they have. The private sector has expressed concern, the financial services industry, but my argument is that these people are not saving with them now. So they're not their customers because there's not enough money here. There's not enough fees that they can get from these people, which is why it's just kind of a perfect audience for a public-private partnership.
Senator Pappas, I want to thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.